According to Robert Sarter, a teacher in the Margaretta School District, use of iPads is the future of education, and he's been advocating to the school administration for 3 years to get iPads in the classroom. His advocacy is finally paying off next year when the school will be purchasing more iPads for student use. What is it about iPads that is making teachers like Sarter so excited? iPads have been found to be extremely useful in the education field and helpful to students, especially with reading. Most of the studies that I went over proved that the iPad helped improve reading. One study in particular had a student who struggled with ADHD and was really behind in his reading. He improved a whole year in his reading grade level in 6 weeks when the iPad was introduced. The iPad actually helped him to focus on his work and made the reading activities interactive. It really began to draw him in, connect him to the activity. This has been the case with many students, and most teachers notice an increase in focus, at least with the use of an iPad. Rob Sarter, who teaches out of Margaretta, noticed an increase in focus, and he noticed that with readers who previously had trouble with reading, use of the iPad helped to calm and relax them. Probably because the iPad is technology, and while some kids struggle with reading, most kids are adept at technology and find it cool, especially devices where they know there is games. There are a variety of apps available on the iPad. There are some that help with reading, there are some that allow textbooks to be downloaded to the iPad, there are some that help students with the periodic table, there are some that help with math problems. The saying, "There's an app for that," isn't an exaggeration anymore. The great thing about these different apps is that many of them are able to be manipulated by users. 3rd grade student TJ hates reading, says that he doesn't like the words and trying to figure them out. He does have favorite kinds of stories though, war, sports, and mysteries. TJ said, "I like mysteries because I like finding out what's going to happen next and trying to solve it." This proves that he's open to reading if he could get a better grasp of it so it wasn't so frustrating to him. I asked TJ how he would feel about being able to manipulate parts of the story or create his own. He told me that he would like that. Giving kids a tangible connection to the reading helps kids to be more motivated to get into it. There are lots of good things about using iPads in the classroom, but that doesn't mean there aren't challenges that come with them. For example, all the iPads in the school need to be synced to the same universal iTunes account so that all the devices will have the same apps and all the same upgrades. Upgrading in itself can be an issue. Not only do the iPads need semi-frequent updates, but the apps on the device will need updated at random as well, and some of the apps won't work properly if they aren't updated. Some schools have found that portable syncing stations have helped. There also may need to be some slight changes to the infrastructure that IT would need to support. And since these are devices being used for education purpose, most likely they're going to have the iTunes account under a teacher's school email address. That means teachers will need to be given some access that they might not have had previously, since they will be downloading different material. The idea that little kids will be handling a device that generally costs a couple of $100s tends to make people nervous. But studies have been conducted with students as young as 1st graders, and it's been found that even the youngest students take care of the devices. The key is to give them a sense of ownership, and they will work just as hard to keep the iPad safe as the teachers. In the study, 1st graders with iPads, the teachers gave the same iPads each time to the students, and the students were allowed to customize wallpaper and such. The students were extra careful with the iPads. They developed their own rules for use, and they would police each other to make sure the rules were being followed. The idea that little kids will be handling a device that generally costs a couple of $100s tends to make people nervous. But studies have been conducted with students as young as 1st graders, and it's been found that even the youngest students take care of the devices. The key is to give them a sense of ownership, and they will work just as hard to keep the iPad safe as the teachers. In the study, 1st graders with iPads, the teachers gave the same iPads each time to the students, and the students were allowed to customize wallpaper and such. The students were extra careful with the iPads. They developed their own rules for use, and they would police each other to make sure the rules were being followed.